big prime deal days, or whatever the heck they're calling it, is still going on. I did a video earlier today talking about the EcoFlow deals. Go check that out. I also did a deal talking about everyday carry, more traditional type of stuff, a little bit of sprinkle of man cave items as well. But we really need to lean heavy on the survival and prep and all that type of stuff, because there's a lot of deals in regards to that, and I think it deserves its own video. First off, Midland directly. So Midland USA, they're not discounting any of their radios or any of their survival items on Amazon. They sell it on Amazon, but they're not discounting on any of it on Amazon. And as I mentioned in my video earlier today, for these companies to participate in these prime deal days and all that type of stuff, they do have to pay Amazon. So sometimes it's just easier to discount on their website. That makes sense here. So today and tomorrow only, 20% off nearly the entire website. There's a few bundles where it doesn't work. This is my favorite portable emergency crank radio. It uses an 18650 battery. You can also use, I think, AA batteries if your 18650 dies. You recharge it with solar. You can hand crank it. It has a flashlight. 20% off of this is going to get you $14 off. That's cheaper than what it is on Amazon. Very good deal. I love Midland radios. They have a great support system if you have any issues with their equipment. Also, we have here, they have a great walkie-talkie system as well. Now, you may want to look at getting yourself a radio that has a ham, even if you don't have your ham license yet. Maybe you get it and you eventually get that license with a lot of deals that are going on. This one is just a two-way radio bundle system. This comes with a nice case. The charging area has an area for the brick, all that type of stuff, just nice and neat. I like the way that is functioned together. So this will, if you get 20% off of this, it's going to bring it down to about $80. Pretty good deal as well. So when I link up these deals, it's going to bring you to the Amazon storefront that I've created for this. Right now, I got about 40 items in here, a little bit less than that. I'll update this throughout the day and throughout the day tomorrow, because deals are going to end and new deals will come on, because it's just how it goes. Around 02 in the morning Central Standard Time, more deals will come. So I'll stay on top of it as much as I can. So first off, Glory Fire, they OEM a lot of these very big, breathable, durable ponchos. This is one of my favorite ponchos that I like to use all the time when I'm riding an e-bike. You can also use this as a survival situation. It has big grommets on it, so you can turn it into a rain catch. You can turn it into a ground cover. You can turn it into a windbreak. It has a huge front pocket in the front, big enough to fit like a 13-inch laptop in the front. I bought mine for like $114, but mine's lined with fleece, so I understand why mine does cost a little bit more. But if you don't need all those bells and whistles, this is normally $89.99. This is on sale for $64. This is sold by a company called Firetech, but I'm telling you, most of these are made by Glory Tech somewhere in China, but these things work just fine. I like them a lot. I think that for survival situations, especially for your car, you need to have a wool blanket. And if you can get 100% wool, that's fantastic. If you can get, this is 80% wool and 70% synthetic fibers. The least amount of wool it is, the blanket won't keep you as warm as long. Okay. If this is 80% wool, you're going to be fine inside of a cab of a vehicle or something like that. But if you were working on something that was like 40% wool, then I wouldn't trust that with super deep cold nights at all. Normally $39.99. They brought this thing down to $31.99, 20% off. Let's call it $32. It's the #1 best selling in camping blankets. You're going to want to have yourself emergency ponchos. I showed you the very nice ponchos. Those are like individuals, you know, you keep it in your pack. You can wear it over your pack. It's not going to rip. These are more like emergency ponchos. You can use these for the same type of concept. You can use these as a windbreak. You can use these as a ground cover. You can use these to catch rain. They're just not very durable. They are NASA engineered. They're tear resistant, but they're not tear proof. Okay. You put too much pressure on these bad boys, they will tear. Now, there's some brands that take more care in their emergency ponchos, like Endure, but they cost significantly more. This is normally $24.99. I bought this in the past, and this is now $14.79, 41% off. That is a great price. I love the fact that it's a bright orange as well. So if you're sitting on the side of a road, you're more visible. If you're in the forest and you want to be visible, it's fantastic for that. Now, some of the deals that I'm telling you about are for getting home, bugging out, surviving in the wilderness survival by accident on purpose, and staying at your house and trying to survival. So a little bit of mix for everything. So we also have here a space blanket that you can use. Same concept as the emergency poncho, but this is more designed to wrap around your body, not pull over your head. It's still tear resistant. It is not tear proof. This is one of the strongest blankets that they make on the market. Normally $24.95. Let's call it $25. They dropped this down to $19.95, 20% savings. It's 55% claimed. So jump on this sooner than later. Very popular brand. Don't die in the woods. They make some really good stuff, and it comes in multiple colors, whichever one works out for you. Headlamp. Okay, if you get a headlamp, a couple of things. A, I think it should be rechargeable. Micro USB, I know it's still old school, but I still think you should be able to recharge it. And B, it should include a red light or a green light, preferably a red light. At night, it's going to help you not completely destroy the little bit of night vision that you developed at night. We humans have night vision just like other animals. And so if you are wearing this at night and you've set yourself in the sun, if you set yourself in the moon for 20 minutes and you let your eyes get used to the moonlight and you turn on the headlamp, you completely just threw off everything. So whatever headlamp you get, make sure you include an offsetting light. Normally $29.99. This is $23.99, a savings of 20%. You want to have yourself a Faraday bag or a waterproof bag, some type of bag that can resist different levels of heat resistance. Now, this bag is not necessarily going to withstand being directly in a fire for more than a couple of minutes. It does have layers of effectiveness for functionality, but whatever you do, get yourself something that's waterproof, that's fireproof up to a certain level. Keep your important documents inside. If you need to bug out, or even if you're just staying at the house, it's important to kind of keep these things, your stuff safe. Birth certificates, marriage certificates, social security cards, all that type of stuff. Your bug out plans, I would recommend you print your bug out plans, laminate them. Bug out plans are the type of documents where if we bug out, who do we let know we're bugging out? Who do we contact in the country? Where are we going to keep our crap? What are the important essential things that we grab? Maybe you keep that plan inside of this type of document holder as well. This thing is normally normally $29. They dropped this thing down to $21, a savings of 28%. Now, if you are going to be maintaining a battery off grid or your vehicle itself, you can use this for deep cycle batteries, your marine batteries, your vehicle. Maybe you have a battery that goes in conjunction with some type of off grid power system. You're going to want to trickle charge and maintain your battery as best that you can. This one directly can be mounted underneath the hood of your vehicle. It can be plugged up. Then you can use this to trickle charge and to maintain your battery. You can hook this to a solar generator if you're out in the field. You can also hook this directly inside your house or whatever. And if you don't drive the vehicle often, if you live in environments where it's super cold or whatever, you're going to want a battery maintainer. Normally $39.95. This is $31.96. Highly rated, over 8,600 reviews, 20% off. That's a buy it now price. Noco is really good for battery maintainers, jump starters, all that good stuff. This is the opportunity for you to buy medical gear. Whatever medical gear that you buy, make sure that the items inside are identifiable items, or at least the major trauma items inside the kit are from name brands. Now, if the bandages aren't Band-Aid, or if the emergency blanket's not indoor, don't sweat that too much. But if it has a sunken chest wound type of bandage inside of there, a tourniquet or whatever, make sure it's from a reputable brand. This is your opportunity to start looking at those type of kits. I like Adventure Medical Supply. I saw some of the items they have in this one. They seem to have a few brands that I've heard of. Normally $37.50. It's down to $30, even 20% savings. Whichever med kit you get, stick with that brand. Because if you have to refill it or you get multiple kits, you're going to be able to open it absentmindedly and know exactly inside that brand or that kit where to find it, whether it's in your vehicle, it's at your house, it's at your job. If you bust that thing open, you're going to know, okay, behind the first flap is where the splint tourniquets are, or the whatever. So you want to be able to make sure you find that type of stuff. For field sharpening purposes, you can bring a small sharpener, which is going to be fantastic for small, like field knives, maybe your dressing kits for taking down for butchering an animal, for your pocket knives, for your serrated blades. This is going to be great for that. Normally $15.98. It's down to $9.48. That's a 41% savings. It does have the little the rod on the side, so you can actually do serrated blades. This is actually a pretty good functioning sharpener, so you can use this in a number of different scenarios. Adventure now, Best Glide ASE, Best Glide Adventure Survival Equipment. They were started in the late 80s by a guy who, whenever pilots fly, especially private planes, they have to have a survival kit in the cockpit with them. This company started because he found it hard to gather all the materials required to have in the cockpit that he had to have in order to fly a Cessna or to fly a private jet or whatever. So they make a lot of high quality stuff. A lot of stuff that they make is made in the USA. This is one of the items made in the USA. A lot of these spiral wire camp saws are made in China. This company strives to make as much stuff in the USA as possible. Normally $8.99. This is $4.49. This is going to be good to take down a branch, no thicker than 2 inches, comfortably. You're going to get tired doing a 2-inch branch, so you're really going to be looking to take stuff down. Like, this is really going to be for like tender, stuff that's maybe like an inch in thickness. This is fatiguing to have to do this over and over. You're going to be switching this type of stuff out, but it's still really well made. A snake bite, a bee sting, and an emergency first aid kit for venom. So of course you're not going to suck venom out of someone's skin. Okay, there is a appropriate procedure to actually approach bee stings, mosquito bites, all that type of stuff to try to mitigate an extraction until you get to a medical professional. You may not get all of it, but you may be able to do a good job, especially if you are far away from medical attention. So the more you can do to intervene, the better. This is a disposable kit, meaning that if you use items inside, you can replace the items and keep the kit itself. Normally $14.98. It's 19% off, $12.10. We also have, this is a tactical Molly medical pouch. I have one of these in the bed of my truck, and you can put different items inside. It's designed to fit a Cat Gen 7 tourniquet, but you can also put like a Sharpie inside of it. Maybe you want to put a pair of scissors or whatever. You can kit this thing out however you see fit. I like to be able to have it kit these out how I want to instead of buying the pre-made kits. If I buy a pre-made kit, it's normally by $11.10. They're very expensive, over $100. So if I can just get this and kit it out, I can usually spend around $50 and get everything done. Normally $11.99. Only specific colors are on discount, so you can get the camo. I don't care what the color is because it's in the bed of my truck and I never see it. But I normally wouldn't get this pattern, but I don't really care. 20% off, $9.59. That's a pretty good savings. Now, the Vertex Base Camp. Vertex Base Camp rarely goes on sale on Amazon. This is right now 20% off. Vertex is not having a sale on their website, so they're participating a little bit in the Prime Big Day deals. Normally $230. This is $185, and it does come in multiple colors. If you're trying to be gray man, maybe you get to smoke gray. This is a 30-liter bag. This is probably going to be comfortable to carry a survival kit for maybe up to 2 people. To be honest with you, it's probably comfortable for just 1 person for like a 3-day survival kit. But you probably can squeeze 2 people's worth of gear in here. It does kind of stand up on its own whenever you get to its destination. That's one thing I like about it. It has a molded foam base, which it does a couple of things. The molded foam base prevents it from tipping over. Now, you used to have to load it properly. And it also prevents it from printing. So if you do decide to load a rifle in this bag, which that's what these are designed for, it's going to prevent the actual barrel of the rifle from printing on the bottom of the bag and letting someone know that guy's carrying a rifle. So I like the way that this thing is built. That's why they cost a little bit more, because you get rapid access to your weapon as well with this big pull tab at the very bottom. Very, very well made bag. Now, if you're going to get yourself, let me see if this is still on sale, because I saw this earlier. It is on sale. Okay. A ferro rod up to 20,000 strikes. I like the fact that this is a well-made from a known brand. Normally $16. They dropped this down to $12.80. Now, here's the thing. Get yourself, this also has a millimeter measuring, which can come in handy if you're trying to make very micro measurings out in the field. But you can, 20,000 strikes. This can get wet. It will still function, and it's going to be great at scraping. You can also use this as a can opener, bottle cap lifter as well. So it kind of just makes sense to keep a good high quality ferro rod versus just getting the one out of some random survival kit. I know out of the random survival kit, normally those things come a dime a dozen, but I like a high quality kit, and it has a wood handle, which makes it last a little bit even more for durability, stabilized wood. We have here a travel hammock. Now, if you are in a field environment and you don't want to use your poncho, or if you don't want to sleep in a tent, maybe you want to sleep on this with just a mosquito net over you, hook this to 2 trees, and you're rocking and rolling. You can also use this as a rain catch. Just lay it out there, let it rain inside of it. You can use this as a ground break, meaning that you put this on the ground instead of sleeping between 2 trees, and you don't sleep directly on the ground. Normally $54.95. They dropped this 25%. It's going to get you a savings of get you down to $41.21. A very good deal as well. We have the bigger version of the sharpel sharpener. This one is going to be bigger for like your axes, your aws, your larger fixed blades, your hunting processing kits. Now you can bring a diamond sharpening kit, 12,000 grit. Okay, so it doesn't really have a really good in between. It's 325 grit and 1200 grit. It'd be nice if it was like a 600 or whatever, but if you're in a field environment, you're trying to sharpen some shit up, just touch it up with the 1200 until you can get it through a proper sharpening process. You also got the leather strop, which is helpful as well. Normally $36.95. This thing is $26.67. That's a savings of 28%. Now, I'm a big fan of Shermas, okay? We called them Haji rags back in the day. I guess you can't call them that anymore. I bought this thing several times. They're humongous, way bigger than the bandana. You can use it to cover your face from sand, from like, it's not going to work very, very well on tear gas, but it's going to be a base layer of protection, better than just holding your fingers over your face. Comes in multiple colors, normally $11.99. It's $9.59. Learn how to use this thing. You can use it to cover your head, especially if you're bald or if you're fair skinned. It's going to be really important to protect yourself from the sun and keep this a part of your rucking kit. Tiny survival guide. Now, you can get the bigger version of this. The tiny survival guide is great to have in all of your vehicles, all of your emergency packs. Normally $23.97. This thing's dropped down to $19.18. Have a wallet size. It's very friendly size. It gives you all sorts of advice for how to lay down a signal mirror, how to prevent somebody from choking, how to start a fire, all sorts of first aid advice. Just give these out to buddies and friends. So you can get a 2-pack, but you also can get a single pack for $10, whichever one works out for you. A rope. This is thicker than 550 cord. This literally can be used for climbing. I would say to keep yourself some rope, maybe not for climbing, but for possibly having to elevate important items out of the reach of animals. So if you have food, if you have a piece of kit that cannot be torn, it cannot be broken, it's very important to whatever mission that you have in your head. Get yourself some marine grade rope, and that way you can tie it over a tree. It comes in different lengths. This is a 1/2 inch by 98 feet. But you can get it in all sorts of measurements. This is normally $34.91. It's dropped down to $27.93 or $28. I love these compression towels. When you wet these things, they turn into a full-size paper towel. Now, they're wet, so you're not going to be using these to dry surfaces, but you can use this to wipe your hands down, wipe a kiddo's face. They're fragrance-free. They're alcohol-free. They're not designed for like a first aid. I mean, you can use it for first aid, but these come in a pinch in different environments when you're away from the house. Would not use it to clean glasses. You can use it for kiddos' faces and stuff like that. These things are clutch. You get 100 pieces, $7.39, savings of 17%. When you see these things inflate, you're going to be pretty impressed. Emergency sleeping bags. All sorts of companies make emergency sleeping bags. These are for emergencies. Bivy sacks, sleeping bags, they're normally one-time use. If you sleep rough, a bivy sack probably is not going to make it beyond that night with you. So if you really want something that's going to be more long-term, look into investing in a real sleeping bag. But for an emergency purposes, this is better than just wrapping yourself in a Mylar blanket, better than the poncho. If you have to sleep overnight somewhere, I would like to have this with me. Normally $13.99. This is $11.19, saving 20%. And it has high ratings as well. Silcock key. Now, these keys are important if you're walking past your Walmart, you're walking past a Burlington coat factory, you're walking past a barn that has a water tap hooked up to it. You're in a survival situation. You don't have your Grail bottle. You want clean water or whatever. You need to be able to tap into that building. That's what these do. These help you tap into a water supply on the side of a building or side of a gas meter or whatever, and to be able to access those areas. Normally $21.99. That was completely overpriced. No one was paying $21.99 for a 2-pack of these. But Duratech is kind of like the little brother of Gear Wrench. Gear Wrench is on top. Then they have Duratech at the very bottom. So this is white glove by some other company, but it is in millimeters and it's in SAE. That's why I like this, because you're getting America and you're getting international standard. $9.90, 55% off. Grab that and put it a part of your kit. Outdoor Edge Game Pro. Now I have the Outdoor Edge Wild Light. I would love to have the Game Pro. I don't need it though. Okay, the Game Pro has way more tools to it. It has like their version of a Laplander saw, so you can take down a branch if you needed to. They have shears in here. They have, of course, a gut hook, and they have everything you need to take out the buttocks and butcher an animal. This is a really good kit. If I didn't have a kit already, I would get this. I don't need a Laplander saw or their version of it. I already have a big boy. I don't need shears. I don't need all that type of stuff. Normally $79.95. They brought this thing down to $63.80, savings of 20%. So that's going to be something good to grab as well. The bigger version of the Survival Handbook. This is on sale right now. This is dropped down to $15.61 for the paperback. So that's a savings of 40%. It's normally $25.99. It normally does sell for about $19.34. So no one's really buying this at full price. I keep a full version of this book in my truck. A full version. I have the tiny hand survival guides, but a full chapter and verse version stays in my truck in my wife's vehicle at all times. If you don't know how to do some stuff, you guys, if you're already out, you've bugged out and you just need some time to read, sit down and read this thing and learn how to do some things. Now, I mentioned the butchering of animals with that kit. This is not on sale per se. It's not a part of the prime deal. This is normally $16. They dropped it to $11.99. That's a savings of 29%. Get the paperback, learn how to actually butcher an animal. I just showed you the kit to butcher it. You may be like, X, I don't know how to do that. Well, this is going to tell you how to process loins, lats, hams. Can you eat that part? Should you eat that part? It's a hog. Do I need to process that? How do you get the buttocks out? Take this, read it, learn a thing or two, be able to learn how to survive once you get out there into the field. Here's another kit. This one specifically is a fixed blade hunting kit. This is going to be more useful for the trees, the limbs. You can use it as a field dressing kit for large and small game, but this also has more of a kit that's more designed to attack for whittling, for putting, using it to make, to cut down trees or whatever. So this is a better kit versus, and it's by Cold Stone, versus just having a straight up field dressing kit. Normally $71.91. This is $57.53. So if you want to get this one and maybe supplement it with a couple of more items to process again animal like a fillet knife, then that might be something you look up as well. Pepper gel. These are the bigger pepper gels. I think these are the big size that you either buy the little pepper gel holder that goes on the strap of your bag, or you keep these in your vehicle. These are too big to keep in your pocket. They're on sale normally $24.83. They're $18.33, 26% savings. I'll show you the smaller versions of these, but these are 1.5 ounces. These are pepper gel, meaning they create less spray, less overspray. If you have to use these, there's going to be overspray, okay, but there's going to be less. So if you need to crack your window and spray out of your window, less of that's going to get into the cab of your vehicle. It's going to get into the cab of your vehicle, but less of it, okay? So something to think about as well. The smaller version of it, $12.10. These are something that you can put in your keychain, give one to your wife, your kids that are of age, and it's illegal for them to carry it, and still does the same concept. I like pepper gel more than pepper spray because it creates less of a cloud. It's more resistant to wind blowback. It's not 100% resistant to wind blowback. I recommend if you get either one of these, spray yourself. Maybe not to spray yourself directly, maybe spray the air and walk into it. Get some milk, maybe get yourself some towels to wipe your face down, lay down and let somebody spray you with a hose for 20 minutes or whatever, but get yourself used to these things. So if you have to use them, you can still fight or you can still evade, and you're just not completely out of the fight because you had to spray your pepper gel for the first time. Now, Mechanics Wear makes some of these durable tactical shooting gloves. These have the big knuckles. These are designed to get into a fist fight or to rub up against a concrete wall and not hurt your hands, or to get stuck between the hood of a car or whatever and reduce the amount of damage on your hands. It's not going to be 100% foolproof. This is normally $25.99. They dropped this down to $19.49. That's a 25% savings, much cheaper than getting the Mechanics Wear, and these things are going to work just fine, especially if you're not using them all the time. I think that it's important to have a Leatherman Signal or Leatherman Surge type of multi-tool in your kit, but maybe not the Leatherman Signal or the Leatherman Surge because they both are on over $100. Get yourself a clone. And the Bivy has the Leatherman Signal clone. It includes flint. It has a little strike plate like a hammer. It has a glass breaker. It has scissors. It has a file. It has a serrated blade with a fine edge as well, a saw, bottle cap lifters, an awl. It has a slotted screwdriver, a whistle, a lot. $27.99, normally $45.99, 30. That's a 39% savings. This is going to be in your survival kit. You may not use this every day. Replaceable cutters. I mean, it looks like a decent multi-tool. I like the fact that they're just leaning in on the Signal clone. Just go for it. Who cares? It's not 100% cloney. It doesn't look 100% like a Signal clone. Next, we have a folding saw. I have a big boy folding saw. Mine costs like $70. You can get a Laplander folding saw that's going to cost you like $70. Or you can just get you a decent folding saw, at least 11 inches. If you can go longer, then that's better. Giggity. But I will say heavy duty 11-inch long folding saw, lots of teeth. So if there is a fallen branch in the road, that's why I would say longer is better, and your vehicle can't drive over it, maybe you can chop that branch down so you can push it out the way with your vehicle, or move it out the way with a couple of people, right? If you need to grab some stuff for actual firewood. So there's different levels of knives, right? Your pocket knife is not going to be sufficient for bringing logs to the fire. An axe, an awl, or something like this is going to be sufficient to bringing logs to the fire. So get yourself a Laplander type of pruning saw. Keep this in your vehicle or a part of your kit as well. You can get your, now if you're bugging in, I talked about bugging out, but let's just say you're bugging in. If you're bugging in, you got to do a couple of things to fortify your house, in my opinion. Maybe get yourself some film for your windows so it makes it a little bit harder to shatter. This is a half-mile range driveway alarm. My driveway is nowhere near this long. I have cameras in mine so I can clearly see when someone's approaching my house. But let's just say, for instance, you're on a 7,000 square foot property or 10,000 square foot property, half a mile. You can use this system to use for motion sensor and detection, and it's going to alert you when someone is driving up your driveway, or a human is driving up your driveway, or an animal is walking up your driveway. Normally $42.99, $34.39. I think that's a pretty decent system. You can buy additional relays for this as well, just in case someone doesn't literally go past it. You can kind of hide these if you need to. Speaking of the bugging in process, this is 42% claim. You might want to jump on this sooner than later. This is an upgraded door stop. You put this behind your door, and if someone does break through it, it busts through with a 120 decibel alarm. If you want to reduce the sensitivity, let's just say, for instance, you use this every single night and you have a 2-year-old. You may want to have high sensitivity or low sensitivity. You might have to adjust that. So if your kid kicks this thing, but they don't completely move it away from the door, it won't go off. But if you live by yourself, maybe you want super high sensitivity. And if it gets, looked at wrong, it's going to go off. So you get 2 door stops and a door lock. I don't really like this specific model of door lock. It's better than nothing because this chain can still be, whatever. But the chain's more of a keeper system. This is normally $13.56. It's $10.58, 22% savings. You can also look at these bad boys. This is what I use in my house. These are door latch systems, which are crazy strong. They are incredibly strong. You install these things correctly, no one's going to be kicking your door in except for the police or someone that just really, really wants to get into your house. So door latch inside. But these are to prevent unauthorized entry. These are aluminum construction. You can get some that are made of steel as well. These are normally $33.99. They've dropped these down to $27.19. That's a 20% savings. As mentioned earlier, they have the Bivy sack that I showed you earlier, which is those are kind of like Those are decent. 4-pack for less money than this 2-pack. These are higher quality. Normally $37.99. These are $30.39. These are more, I would say, almost reusable. You see this guy here is trying to, you know, rip it apart like he's that guy in Napoleon Dynamite trying to rip apart the Tupperware. So these have a little bit more of well-made seams, a lockout system. So if you want to spend a little bit more and get your a 2-pack from from a more reputable company, you can go for that as well. LifeStraw always participates in these sales. They have tons of their products that are on the sales. But this is your opportunity to get a name brand versus getting an off brand. LifeStraw, the only thing I don't like about a LifeStraw is you have to bring your face to the water source. But hey, if you're in a pinch, it does remove microplastics. It's not, it removes 99% of waterborne parasites. They have to say 99.9% because there's some parasites on Earth that we've never heard of. But it's a #1 bestseller. Keep this a part of your kit. There's no reason at 50% off that you don't grab one for every person in your family. All right, so those are some survival, bug out, bug in, get home deals. Listen, we're in fall now. We're about to enter the winter. We're also finishing up hurricane season. Be safe for those that are out there on the East Coast. It is time to check all your kits. If you don't have warming layers in your kits, it's time to put them in there. If you have batteries that need to be recharged, it's time to look at that. See if your food has expired. See if you're missing some stuff. Maybe you tapped into your first aid kit because you had some type of emergency and you didn't even realize you used the crap. This is the time to do that type of stuff. If this is your first time stopping by, subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you part of the battalion. I did a video earlier on EcoFlow solar chargers. Those might work well with any of the stuff I just mentioned. I'll link that up for you to check out as well. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.